Okay, so here we have our slab template, and I also have my tools, and I have chosen some stamps, and we're going to talk about the stamps in a minute. But the first thing I want to do is not cut out this template square. I just want to trace it, and there's a reason for that. And the reason is because I'm going to stamp it, it's going to distort it. So here's all I did. I traced the square. So now I'm going to choose a couple of stamps. I have these really cute stamps that change, switch out. I've got a few different wheels for these. So I'm going to try using this one. I'm going to push down. I want to make a good impression with the stamp I choose, because otherwise if it doesn't make a good impression, when I go to glaze it, the glaze is just going to fill all the decoration. So I've stamped one. I'm going to try something else alongside of that. I'll do some stripes. So I got these little... Now what happens, I don't know if I cut myself off with this. What happens when I do this naturally is that I distort the slab. And while the slab is surrounded by other clay, it doesn't warp so bad that it like twists sideways, versus if I cut it out and do that. So I've got some distortion going on. That's always to be expected when I use stamps. So you can see when I put my my thing back down, my template back down, excuse me, that I need to cut it out exactly. So now I could cut out my template. And now I'll have a nice even square that has even edges and my design on here. Now, how you use these is up to you. They make really cute soap dishes, like I said, or little, I don't know, they could be little sushi dishes, whatever you want to use them for. I want to smooth out the edges at this point. I hate saying especially during videos, I have to edit that. I want to smooth my edges. And then I want to take a paper plate, like so, and put it upside down on the paper plate. I already have this one going on that's starting to turn leather hard. But you just want to eyeball it evenly so that it's centered on the paper plate, and then gently push down. It's not going to ruin your stamp, so gently push that down. If I can see it's a little off, I'm going to reposition. Okay, so now here's what I have. I'm going to move away from the camera for a second. So easy as this. Upside down plate, upside down dish. Now I want to put a foot on it. This one I'm making a little bit less, a little more low profile, less high. So I'm going to have a ring. Now here's where you have to save your scrap pieces. So I've got these scraps. What I did was I took my ruler and I cut about 6 inches. 6 inches is a great length to make a circle for the foot, for the ring for the foot. So mine's already made, but this is all I did, and this is actually more than 6 inches. You could have yours a little bit wider. When you're making the foot though for the base, you do not want to, the foot should not touch the part that curves. This one is dry, so I could use this one. You can't go on the curve with the foot because then it literally will rock back and forth and you don't want it to fall over. So you have to stay in the middle, and this one is actually a little bit off. But you could center it, eyeball it, and I could measure, okay, I've got about 1 inch here, and I could move it along. But a bird's eye view, a down bird's eye view is what you need. And this, just like the neck of your vases, has to be blended. You want to score that. Did out a scratch tool. How are you guys doing today, by the way? Good. You guys good? I'm good. Okay, so I want to slip and score my foot together, and then I want to blend it. Common problem that happens when students are first learning how to put feet onto a form is that they skip or they go too fast in the application of the slip or the scratches and then blending. If you skimp or if you rush through that, the foot falls off easily. Like coils, slabs want to move away from themselves, and so you want to make sure you've got a good blend. So here's my little way to know where to scratch. I drop it in a little bit of water, and then I make a water ring on the centered part of my little dish here. Now I can see where to scratch, and I don't think the camera's going to pick that up, but this is what I did. So I know where to scratch now. And because I've been annoyed in my life with feet falling off of things or things becoming detached, I do go out of my way to make sure that I've got a good blend. One of the things I often do is take a scrap piece of clay, and kind of like what you did for the eggs in the middle of the belly part of your eggs, the coil acts like a join. And I'm just going to drop a little scrap piece of coil in here, but I'm not going to leave it like that. I do need to blend it. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend that all in. And then when it comes to the outside, I'm just going to take a little bit of the side of the foot and blend it down into the dish. And it's easy enough to turn on your little plate. So your plate acts like a little banding wheel for you. It's kind of like with the Native American bowls. So I want to blend the inside of the foot and the outside so that you cannot see any line. I want to make sure that the edges are smooth with my sponge. And I'm going to fix this. I'm not going to let this look all faceted, which is just the line marks. I'm going to make sure that my coil doesn't show on the inside. That's all in craftsmanship. So what are we learning for this practice for the slab? The objective, the learning targets, the goal is that you learn how to actually make a slab. Then you're going to learn how to stamp it so that it has a quality impression, a nice impression, and how you place the stamp on that square matters too. So in other words, it shouldn't look like, you know, your little cousin or your little sibling like accidentally went at it with a rubber stamp. I want it to look sophisticated. The other thing I want to do with this foot is make sure that it's nice and even. So you could take a paddle or even the ruler you have and just go across it, because I want to make sure that it sits even on the table. I don't like a wobble, and I do sometimes toss pieces because they wobble. So I've got my foot. I'll hold this up. I've got to blend that a little bit more, and I'm going to smooth it out all around the joint. Can everybody see this? Yes, thank you. So then my sponge is going to make this look amazing. It's going to smooth out the ring on the foot. It's going to take away all those little crunchy things that I made getting the blend, and I'm going to smooth out the edges. And really from here, I could check, and it's a little, push that in a little. And now it needs to stay here to dry. I'm going to fuss with this, and I can see my foot's a little off. How did that happen? So I'm going to move it if I can. It might be okay. You want to center your foot. And that's it. I need to talk to you about stamps. It seems pretty straightforward. Miss Monaco, I know stamps. I've used stamps before. Just stop that.